Hey guys, so we're going to be making a replacement heat pad. I had one of those that had rice in it, or might have had flax or buckwheat or something like that in it. I think it was rice though, because it was white. But anyway, through years of use, I'm sure microwaving it and all of that starts wearing on the cotton fibers, and so it started getting little tears in it and was leaking out. So I decided, you know what, we can just make one. So I didn't have the camera on when I thought I did. And so I've already cut my rectangles. What I cut was 2 pieces of muslin. These were just scraps that I had. It's the only reason you see this. But that way, I wanted 2 layers of fabric so that if those cotton fibers started to wear again and and I could see a hole or wear a spot, that I would catch it before the second layer started tearing and leaking out. So that's the only reason I'm going to do 2 layers. And this was no rhyme or reason to the size other than this was the scraps that I had, so I cut it down as much as I could. I got it as big as I could with the scraps that I'm using, basically. So what we'll do now is go to the sewing machine and we're just going to sew it up. Okay, so we are at the sewing machine, and I have right sides together on my print fabric as well as my muslin. And I want to just sew these together and leave a small place at one end to turn it. I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch seam. Okay, I'm just going to snip these corners and then turn it right side out. So I'm not sure what I did with my seam roller, so I'm just going to use this little folder. This is to help make creases with, point out corners, things like that, but it's really sturdy. So I'm just going to run it down the edge. Just kind of flatten it out a little bit. It doesn't have to be perfect, because we're still working on it. So okay. Now we have no raw edges. So what I want to do, I'm going to start at this end, and I'm going to have the muslin on the inside. And I'm going to sew 3 sides of this. I'm going in pretty close to the edge because I'm going to do a double seam. And with this being a heating pad, I'm not too worried about my seams rolling. I'll show you what I mean at the end. Now, I want to make sure that I get these closed up, so I'm just kind of rolling those in where they would naturally lay. I decided to go ahead and sew part of the way over on this and just leave an opening to be able to put the rice down inside. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now what I want to do is do the same thing so that I have two seams, a double. Okay, now what I want to do, oh, and when I was saying I'm not worried about my seams rolling, would be like, okay, right here, where you can see, instead of just seeing a solid blue, you can see a little bit of the muslin. That's what I meant, because of what this particular, it's just a heating pad, so I'm not too worried about it. So I'm going to open this up, and let me see. Okay, I found a piece of kind of stiff paper, just something to kind of funnel in the rice. Now, I know that I want mine really flexible, and I want it to lay kind of flat. I don't want this stuffed really, really tight, in other words. So what I'm going to do, where it's laying right now, is pretty flat. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to mark that I want to sew right about here. So I'm going to push all of it down into the bottom and bring this over. Now I'm going to keep feeling because I don't want any of that rice to get under my needle. And I'm just going to keep sewing. There's some down here I'll need to move. just so and meet up with this one. Now you could, if you wanted, leave a small channel so it can shift back and forth, but for what I want it for, I want to make sure that these are closed so that it all doesn't lump down into one end. Okay. So I've got my first seam, and when that lays out flat, it's going to be nice and flat and flexible still without all of your rice moving to one area. So I'm going to open this back up, and I'm going to go ahead and fill up another channel. Maybe I may do one more seam here and then one here and close it up. That'll have 4. Or you could do kind of a wider one here and then a smaller one at the top and just have 3. It's kind of your preference. Okay, so it's still nice and flexible. So if you needed to, I don't know, wrap your arm, for example, you know, you still have a lot of flexibility there to do that. On the other hand, if you were having stomach cramps, this would lay right across the belly. Lower back, you could do the lower back. If you wanted to isolate a smaller area, it's going to fold nice and flat for you. So I've also, when I purchased one of these, it was in a horseshoe shape so that you could put it around your neck easily. So you could think about something like that as well. And again, you don't have to sew these channels. You can just, you know, make a bag and then let it flatten out on wherever you're putting it. So anyway, just a quick video to have you think outside the box on some things you can make at home. Have a great week.